Hey everyone, this is Justin, and I'm going to be doing your 5-Minute Friday today. We are going to be in Psalm 63 today, and I just love this psalm because it talks about praise. This whole psalm talks about the moments in our lives and praising God no matter what, and it's just this, and you would probably say it's about a lot of the psalms, but in this case it just reminded me that whether it's a high time or a low time, we always seek after God, we always praise God. So let's dive into this. It opens by saying that this is a psalm of David when he was in the wilderness, and verse 2 saying, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and weary land where there is no water." Now, I find it interesting that this is the language used when it's a psalm that's in the wilderness of Judah, talking about dry land, thirst, my soul thirsting for you, things like that. But what really stood out to me was the first two lines where, "Oh God, you are my God," because it kind of reminded me of this song that we used to sing in church when I was growing up, which was called Step by Step. And, part of the chorus talks about step by step, you'll lead me, I'll follow you all of my days. And it talks about and so it's this song that talks about following God and making your life seek after God. So I think that this is a encouraging start to the psalm for sure. But that's one reminder that triggers in my head when I read those first two lines. Verse 3 goes on to say, "So I looked for you in the sanctuary to see your power and your glory." And I think this is a powerful reminder to not just that God seeks after us, but that we also should be looking for God. In our daily interactions with people, where do we see God? Are we seeking after God when we wake up in the morning? Are we seeking after God before we go to bed at night? Or whatever your routine is for spending that quality time with God. But I think this is a reminder that, seeing God's power and God's glory involves seeking after that. And the next three verses, starting in 4, go on to say, "Since your loving kindness is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I lift up my hands. My soul is satisfied as with fat and oil, so my mouth praises you with joyful lips." So, again, not only talking about the praise and the worship that we give to God, but it being satisfying. That, just as the body is satisfied when we eat food, the soul is satisfied and the spirit is satisfied when we're praising God. And I think this is an important reminder of how important that is. The seeking after God, the praising God, and just making God number one in our lives. I think that's points to how important it is. The body can't survive for more than a few weeks without food. How long can the spirit survive without acknowledging God? So, moving on to verse 7, we see it says, "When I remember you on my bed, I meditate on you through the night watches. For you have been my help, and in the shadow of your wings I sing for joy. My soul clings to you, your right hand upholds me." So, I think this next section reminds me that all hours of the day and night, we remember God, and we dwell on God. But that last verse that I read in verse 9 there, "My soul clings to you, your right hand upholds me," really reminded me that, we talk about all the time about we're not holding God up, so we can't let him down. But this, I think, also reminds us that God holds us up, especially in the hard times of life. God sometimes will hold us through those times, that we may not know how we survived those times. We may not know how we got through those times, but that God is holding us through it. It's like, have you ever heard the footprint in the sand analogy? Those low times where it was a real struggle, God was carrying us. And then this psalm closes out with these 3 verses. "But those who seek my soul to destroy it will go down to the depths of the earth. They will be gutted by the sword and become a prey for jackals. But the king will rejoice in God. All who swear by him will boast when the mouth speaking lies is shut." So, just basically talks about the naysayers, the liars, the workers of the enemy will be silenced, and we rejoice for that fact, that we will prevail over that. And, the father of lies is the enemy, and one day that will be silenced, those attacks will end, and we have to keep praising God through all of that. So, I hope you've enjoyed this 5-Minute Friday. Have a great Friday, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.